In this video, we're going to talk about HK's LEM trigger because let's face it, you're watching this because you don't know what it is. So let's talk about it. Hey everybody, Sean Burrows from the HK shooting team here to talk to you today about HK's proprietary LEM or law enforcement modification trigger. Now, it's often celebrated and talked about online for those who have experienced it, and those who haven't quite experienced it yet don't quite know what it is. I'll admit it, I wanted to know what it was. I didn't know what it was. I tried to figure out what it was, and it's hard. Unless you've experienced it, unless you've touched it, and I did a couple of times and I still didn't get it, I'm going to show you today so you know what it is, and when that light bulb goes off, I'm apologizing to your significant others in advance because you're probably going to wind up spending some money. Some call it a double action only, which isn't quite correct. I've even seen some refer to it as a single action only, which is definitely not correct. It's like a 1.5 action sorta, maybe, which is just confusing. Let me show you what I mean. Here I have two USP experts, both of which I use in competition. I was using this one for 3-gun while I was having the law enforcement modification made on this one. This is your traditional double action, single action, variant 1 USP Expert, which means put a round in, rack it into the chamber, the hammer's back, and I am in single action mode, which means the trigger does one single action. It lets the hammer down and discharges a round. In a competition or getting ready to carry, I rack a round in, and then I would often either decock, the hammer is safely down, and I would need to, for my first round to discharge, perform a double action trigger pull, which means the trigger performs 2 actions. It cocks the hammer back and then lets it down, which is often a harder, longer, heavier trigger pull for that first round. Alright, I know I'm boring some of you, get to it, Sean, but some of you don't know. That's why I'm making this video. The slide cycles the round, discharges the spent casing, and then everything after that is a much easier single action trigger pull. Now, to appeal to all the 1911 fanboys, HK also made it to when a round was racked in the chamber, you could flip the decock lever up, and now it's a safety lever and you can carry it cocked and locked. I don't prefer to do this. I would rather do a double action for my first trigger pull. In fact, this is the way I carry my P30 and my carry gun. This is my personal carry gun. This is a P30 V3. Notice it doesn't have a safety lever. It's a double action, single action gun. It's got the decock lever here in the back. And I've trained more with this gun than any other pistol. So it made sense to me as I got into competitive shooting that I was going to continue to compete with something like this. So I got a P30L. Unlike everybody else I was going up against, that initial trigger pull was a double action. I didn't mind because I trained with it. However, at SHOT Show this year, I found another gun that I didn't know was going to sweep me off my feet. I picked up the USP Expert. She just made me feel things I didn't know I could feel. Me and my P30 are still working things out. I mean, we're still together, but Expert and I spend a lot of time together on the weekends. But this was still the double action, single action, so I was going back and forth. Do I start the first shot of the match carrying cocked and locked? A lot of 1911 and 2011 guys in competition shooting do that. They practice with the draw, deactivate the safety. But I didn't have the training hours, I didn't have the dry fire time, and I'm in the middle of a competition season, so am I going to change how I compete in the middle of it? Nope, so back to the double action. It's just getting to the point where it was starting to get cumbersome. I didn't want to do it anymore. Then, I was talking to my gunsmith, Rick Holm at Lazy Wolf Guns, whom I trust implicitly regarding any modification on any HK pistol, and he somehow brought up the LEM trigger. And I said, yeah, I've heard about it. Isn't it like a light double action only? I don't know, long trigger pull, whatever. And he said, no, do you know what I could do to this thing? He was almost yelling at me, but in a loving way. So, he did this. You'll notice that there is no thumb safety at all. The hammer is bobbed and recessed. Now, LEM stands for Law Enforcement Modification. The idea behind this was for law enforcement to have at least an initial long uptake, similar in distance but not weight, to a double action trigger pull. It's like a half a pound, like I can push it with my pinky. It just moves the bobbed hammer back, but the actual break, about 3 pounds. Then the round cycles and the trigger resets, but look at this. It's a millimeter reset. When I'm done, I can just let the trigger all the way forward and the hammer goes back down. It decocks itself. Just by letting the trigger forward, it's in its safe pre-cocked mode. Pre-cocked and decocked. Strange, I know. And I can reholster. And that's what's so celebrated about it. It's a pre-cocked double action trigger pull with a single action break. Some of you familiar with the USP Expert might notice that I do not have the USP match trigger in here. Let's take a look at the way these triggers break up close, and I'll show you the difference. Okay, so this is a USP Expert V1, double action, single action. So the double action pull, you'll notice this little attachment on the back of the trigger. This is HK's proprietary match trigger. You can adjust this little screw in the back to minimize after travel after the shot actually breaks in order to allow the trigger to reset faster. But with the gunsmith work that I was having done by Lazy Wolf Guns, I didn't need that. And so I just went back to the traditional factory USP trigger. It was 20 bucks, had it sent to them, got it off of hkparts.net, and I was good. This is the break, reset, not bad, break, reset, decock, full forward position. Okay, so my problem is, I've wondered about the LEM long before this year. I've heard about it, people talk about it online, but here's what will happen. I'll go to a gun show, I'll pick up, oh, this is a Lem Trigger, and I'll just like pull it off, right? Huh, that felt like double action to me. I don't know what's so special about it. Feels like my double action, single action at home. And I'll put it back down and go check out a machine gun or something. Then it occurred to me, that's not how you load a gun. You put the magazine in, you rack a round in. But look, the hammer's still recessed. Now it's pre-cocked, but you'll notice the trigger's still in the full forward position. Now you've got that magical pre-travel. So watch, break, cycle the round, look at this millimeter reset, watch. Ooh, you didn't even see it, did you? Break, cycle the round, watch closely, reset, boop. Okay, so I hope that explains the LEM trigger to you. I hope that makes sense. It's a safety measure, and it's a single action feeling gun. It's the best of both worlds, and it's fantastic for competition, self-defense. I'm actually going to be slowly converting all of my HK pistols over to this. I just need to make sure I have something to carry at all times. All of HK's pistol line is available in the LEM trigger variant, except the VP line. Striker fire does not apply to this. This is for hammer fire guns. Striker fire is just a completely different mechanical principle, right? So, people are going to ask, Sean, I really wanted to get a whatever HK pistol and LEM, and my dealer can't find it anywhere. What am I going to do? They're going to try to special order one from Germany or whatever, and it's going to take 9 years. You don't need to do that. Just go get the one you want and buy the kit off of HK Parts. Now, if you want to get the kit, message me and I will get you discount codes, save you a little bit of money. And then I recommend sending it over to Lazy Wolf Guns. Rick Holm is the best of the best. He's the only one I trust with all of my HK pistol work. He's fixed other people's botched jobs that messed stuff up before I met Rick. Rick's the absolute best. I'd be happy to send you his way and give him more work than he can handle. I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, comment below. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Sean Burrows, and I'll see you next time. So what'd you think? Did you like this format a little bit better? I don't know, this is a bit more geeky stuff, like the workshop thing, talking about triggers, not out shooting. Let me know, and subscribe. Click on my face and subscribe.